Okay, you have, it's the same, identify the whole organ. You have a light and dark area, and between them are spaces with colloid-like material. So this must be the pituitary gland. Okay, the pars nervosa, pars distalis, and the pars intermedia. So those are the only parts that we can recognize in our studies. Okay, pars distalis, intermedia, and pars nervosa. So there's no problem for pars nervosa and pars distalis. Pars nervosa, since it is less cellular, you have a lighter staining area. Okay, the distalis is more cellular, that's why you have a darker staining area. And the middle, the intermedia, it contains this cystic spaces here, which are actually what? What is the name of this cyst or the spaces? Actually, they are not cysts, cystic-like. They are spaces left by the developmental Radke's pouch. Okay, so this is the remnant of the Radke's pouch. And if you look closely, they are lined by cuboidal to low columnar cells. Okay. But again, if it will ask you to identify the Radke's pouch, it will be in this magnification, not the close-up or not the high power. Okay. It could be if you only see this, you will miss taking it for thyroid. Okay, so this is the pars distalis, comprising of, you have 5 specific types, but I told you before that when you answer in the practical exam, you will just write down the 3 general classification. Okay, acidophil, basophil, and chromophobe. Okay, so the blue are the basophils. The red or very pink cells are the acidophils. Okay, those without color are the chromophobe. Okay, so identify pointed cells. Basophil, how about this one? And this is, ganun lang yun. Okay? That is, if you will recognize it from it's from the pituitary. Okay. Sorry. Chromophobe, these are also chromophobe, but it's not very well distinct. Okay. Siyempre, if we will ask you the type of cell, it's in high power. But if we think at low power, you can readily recognize it. It's better to focus it on low power, so you will see the architecture of the organ. Okay, so the pointer is in between an acidophil and a basophil. Okay, I think this is a chromophobe. Chromophobe. It's the same, high power, acidophil, basophil, basophil, a basophil, and a group of chromophobes. Okay, a group of acidophils and a group of basophils. And maybe these are chromophores. Okay, we would not consider if you answer lactotroph, somatotroph, corticotroph. Although maybe if it is pointed on an acidophile, you answered somatotroph. I don't know. It depends on the consensus of the department. If it will give you a point or a half point, since a somatotroph is also an acidophile. But again, how do you know that it says somatotroph? This is the portion of the pars nervosa. Okay, so it's also difficult to look for a herring body, so most probably we will not ask that question. And most of these are just axons of the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract, okay, which comes from the nuclei originate from the hypothalamus. Okay, maybe we will just ask you what hormones are stored in the pointed area. Identify the whole organ. What is this? Thyroid. Okay, composed of follicles. A follicle is the structural and functional unit of a thyroid gland. Okay, and each follicle is lined by two types of cell again. Okay, majority of the cells are what? What is the name? So most of this are, or all of this are what is the name of these cells? Okay, follicular cells. Identify the pointed cell, follicular cell. Okay, give the hormone secreted by pointed cell. T3 or T4, T3, T4. Okay. The same. So identify means you name the cell. Okay. Before, yung dati in your first exam, you just have to classify them. So these are cuboidal, supracuboidal. But depending where they are located, like for here in the thyroid gland, they are follicular cells. Okay, remember, you also have follicular cells in the reproductive tract. Saan organ yun? What structure? In the ovarian follicle. Okay, ovarian follicle. Okay, identify pointed cell. Parafollicular or C cell. Okay, parafollicular cell is larger, it has more cytoplasm, but it stains paler than the cuboidal cells. And it secretes also hormone. Okay, so siguro paulit-ulit na yun, you already memorized what are the hormones. Okay, the problem is if you will be able to identify it in the practical exam. Okay, kabisado mo nga yung hormone, you know the hormones and the cells, but the problem is recognition. Okay, these are also group of parafollicular cells. Okay, the previous one was one of the lining of the follicle. But this group is outside the follicle. So you may see them in two locations. Okay, identify the whole organ. Adrenal gland. Okay, you have the cortex, the medulla, and the central